Hello and welcome to this episode of Essex by the Sea. I'm Owen, exploring the Essex coast, finding out about the amazing and interesting stories it has to offer. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite podcast app, and if you like what you hear, tell your friends about Essex by the Sea as well. Now, for this episode, there's things happening in Harwich because there's a festival afoot during the month of July. Peter Davis is the organiser of the Harwich Festival and joins me now here on Essex by the Sea. Peter, thanks ever so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Owen. It's great to have the opportunity to talk about the festival.
So the Harwich Festival has been going on for a number of years. Obviously, last year couldn't physically happen, but you still managed to actually put a festival on online, didn't you, Peter?
Yeah, we managed to get about 15 events online. We ran a number of community projects, creative writing, reflections from lockdown. We did photography. We did a 20 by 20 art project where we had an online exhibition. We put Dovercourt Art Club's exhibition online and had a virtual tour. So, yeah, I think it did go on. And we also ran a winter festival where we got some money from the Arts Council and we wanted to put that back into musicians and artists' pockets. So we ran a festival over the winter, had about 25 events, and I think raised about £5,000 for local artists.
Well, that's fantastic, isn't it? And to be able to put that on during a pandemic is no mean feat, and actually changing a festival which is actually really about getting out and experiencing things around the town of Harwich. It must have been quite a different concept and planning that had to go behind it.
Yeah, we learned a lot. There was a whole new skill set that we had to get on board. I mean, the first thing we had to do was to basically preserve the organisation. So we'd, just before the pandemic hit, we'd got a grant from the Arts Council called Grassroots Supporting Live Music, where we were going to develop a 3-tier system for bringing on bands, and we were working with the University of Essex over this. But of course that got stopped in its tracks, but we were able to repurpose some of the funds and put that back into supporting staff, but also spending some of that money putting on the summer festival and so forth. And we learned a lot about live streaming. Sometimes, you would do like a sound check and during the day. And then, of course, in the evening when you were going out live, that's when the broadband was under more pressure. And so we had a few issues there. And, you just learned as we went along. But I think now it's certainly an extra string to our bow and something that we'll consider running alongside the live events, because during that process we picked up a new audience, and you don't want to lose touch with those people who've over the last 15 months have come to discover the Harwich Festival and what it's about.
No, and I guess, yeah. I mean, in terms of the way we've all had to adapt, and certainly for the events industry, for live performance, it has been about taking things online, as you say. But going forward, there's elements there that can continue, because not everybody, let's face it, can physically get to Harwich for whatever reason. But by providing an online experience for them, they can still take part in the festival from wherever they might be in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And we've had some funds from the National Lottery Heritage Fund around digital confidence. And we're going to use some of those funds for investing in some of the kits that you need for live streaming, and with a little bit of training to support that. And we will carry on broadcasting as we've done before.
So, the festival runs for the month of July. What's on the bill for 2021 then, Peter?
Okay, so the strapline for the festival is opening our doors again. And I think that's what it's all about, really. We've got artists who are absolutely desperate to start performing again, and they're going to have that opportunity, and people are going to have the opportunity to come in to listen to live music and to look at art in its natural habitat in exhibitions and so forth. So while we're talking about the arts, we also run the Harwich Arts and Heritage Centre, which we have been for the last 2.5 years. So we've got a major art exhibition by the Alethea Collective that's for contributing artists. So we keep a gallery specifically for local and visiting artists. That's a room that is just specifically for that all the time. So that's going to be opening on the Saturday, the 3rd of July, and that will be every weekend, every weekday, right through to the 25th of July. We've also got another exhibition at the Arts and Heritage Centre, Sonism, which is art in response to sound, plus various other exhibitions from local artists in the centre. And then we've got a certain amount of public art in the town. So if you come to the town, we've got Operation Smile, which is individual bunting made by local craftspeople. And that's going to be all over the town. So it's going to be wonderful to look at. And we've got our Sea Windows competition. So that's basically houses in Harwich are going to be, I think we've had something like 30 submissions so far. And that's going to be something to make you smile in people's windows. So that'll be sort of like your normal sort of arts tour that you would see. So that's mainly the visual art.
Mm-hmm.
We're basically keeping things simple this year in terms of venues. So we have 3 venues: Harwich Arts and Heritage Centre, which is up in Dovercourt by the Mayflower Primary School, the Bandstand in Cliff Park, and the St Nicholas Church in Harwich. So at the Bandstand, we've got theatre on the 25th of July by Theatre Témoin, who are a visiting theatre group who are coming along with a piece that they've developing with Harwich and Dovercourt High School called Flood, which is around climate change and also pollution within the sea. So very topical for any seaside town. We've also got various musical events at the Bandstand. So we've got an acoustic duo from Colchester, Harwich and Dovercourt Choral Society. All of these events are sort of at 2:00 at the Bandstand. We've got jazz, and we've got workshops for children from Mambo Jambo, which are a roots duo, and a lot there. And then what we've really got for the music buffs is a very strong jazz lineup at the St Nicholas Church with the Harry Keeble Quartet, who are a young group come down from the northeast. This is their first live gig, and it's the launch of their EP. What we're finding is a lot of artists were going to be doing stuff, and of course it just got stopped in its tracks. And now they're coming out of it, and it's the opportunity to do something for the first time.
I was going to say, Peter, I guess actually, there's sort of that pent up excitement about getting back out and producing things, and with lockdowns and sort of recording studios and sort of festivals such as this sort of very much scaled back the opportunity for artists to get out there. So like the band there you mentioned, releasing their EP at the same time as performing at the festival, that hasn't really I appreciate it's been online, but getting out and seeing a crowd face to face hasn't been possible for artists, has it really? So this is a good opportunity, and I think we're going to see lots of new releases, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly, and probably a lot of new material as well that people have been, and artists have responded differently to the pandemic, just like everybody else. Some have been very creative, some have found it extremely difficult, some have left the industry and have had to go elsewhere and so on. So, it's like the whole thing's been shaken up, and we just don't know how things are falling down and in what place. In this particular case, it's a young quartet. They were going to get going beginning of last year, but now they've had to wait. But, they can't wait to get going. I think with Mambo Jambo, a roots duo, plus Luke Jackson, who's won a whole number of awards in the folk circle and also gets involved with Americana and roots, etc. They're really on the music scene. There's something for everybody.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're really keen, you can buy a season ticket. and go to all of the concerts, which is quite a good value. But
Yeah,
no, there's certainly
absolutely.
a very wide range.
The list is endless, isn't it, Peter? I mean, and considering this is a scaled back festival, a full
Yeah,
blown all singing all dancing festival that perhaps would normally have taken place, then almost the choice of things to go and see and experience and take part in, probably a little bit too many things to going on. But and Harwich itself is such a historic town as we know, and a great place to visit. But this festival is just adding an extra layer of reason to come and visit Harwich, isn't it?
you're right. I think it's when we run the normal festival of what normal was. What we tried to do when we took the festival over 10 years ago is to create a real festival feeling, a real intensity, so that we had a number of events throughout the day. So you had late morning, lunchtime, afternoon, early evening, maybe a late night, things like that, and encouraging people to come and stay in the town and go to a number of events. Now, that's probably not practical at the moment. It may be something we return to. But the thing about it is, though, is that Harwich, as you say, is such a historic town. It's got so much heritage, has got so many other things going for it, both locally and so on. I mean, Dovercourt Bay Beach was, I think, voted fifth best beach in the country by various measures the other day. There is now the opportunity to come to Harwich, see 3 or 4 concerts, and then spend a week here, enjoying the coastline, enjoying the local scene around, and just generally, being around the place, because Harwich benefits from the fact it's one of only 3 or 4 deep water berths on the east coast of England, and so of course it's attracted the ferries, the Navy Yard, you had all the historical events like the surrender of the German U-boats, the Kinder transport, and so forth. And Harwich itself is full of lots of different museums, and so that you could easily spend a weekend just going around the different museums we have.
Oh, absolutely. It's certainly a place to spend a weekend. And I'm just looking actually at the information here, and the weekend at the end of July, there's a beer festival taking place in a very unique setting as well, isn't there?
In the Redoubt Fort, and the festival is actually selling the tickets for it.
Yeah.
So we support the community in lots of different ways. The Redoubt Fort, which is a Napoleonic fort, of course, you had the Sears and Martello Towers, and then they connected to these redoubts. So you've got Landguard on the other side at Felixstowe and the redoubt here. So that's a very interesting place to visit in any ordinary time. But of course, to have the Harwich Beer Festival there at the same time. And this one, I think, is over a 5-day period, which normally it's only sort of 4 days. So, but it's ticket only. So if you want to come, make sure you come on the Harwich Festival website and buy your ticket.
Well, Peter, our chat's absolutely flown by here on the podcast. Where can people find out more about the festival and more importantly, book the tickets to come and experience it for themselves?
Okay, so basically on the Harwich Festival website, so harwichfestival.com, you can inquire at info@harwichfestival.co.uk. You can follow us on Facebook. We're on Instagram at official Harwich Festival, and we're on Twitter at Harwich Festival, and we have a general inquiry number. And you buy tickets online, but please, if you want to come, I advise you to book early, because we designed this festival around social distancing. So we knew that if the 21st of June unlocking was to be delayed, it wouldn't affect the festival. We'd still be able to run it. So the amount of tickets we've got at the St Nicholas Church is something like 63, and the amount of tickets at the Harwich Arts and Heritage Centre is around 50. So there are still quite a lot of tickets left. But if you really want to come and see that particular jazz band or Luke Jackson or whoever, I advise you to get your ticket now.
I guess actually in some ways although it will be socially distanced, because of the small numbers, these performances are going to be quite an intimate performance, aren't they? Then with a reduced audience numbers.
Absolutely, there will be, and that makes for those special moments.
If you want to find out more, head to the website. We'll put the link in the description of this episode, and of course share the links on social media as well. Peter, thank you ever so much for your time. Good luck with the festival. I hope it goes well. I hope it's nice and busy, and lots of people come down to Harwich and take part and enjoy it.
Yeah, I was just going to say just one thing. We have a leaflet which describes all of the artists in full and so on. You can actually download that leaflet from the website.
Peter, thank you ever so much again. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite podcast app if you've liked what you've heard here on Essex by the Sea. And you can, of course, follow us on social media. We're across Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. So until next time, thanks very much for listening.